let us move on to the next speaker, my good friend, Dr. Jayan Deshpande. He's my senior in the college. He did his MSc in veterinary microbiology. He joined the India Poultry Farm, the present Godrej, what you can see, Godrej Agrovet, and he has put in almost from 99 to 2016 a great service in Godrej Agrovet, and he has been involved in many poultry integrators, poultry companies, and technical area. And he, by choice, he chose to now roam around, help all the people across the India rather than one particular company. So I really, admire him for that. He is going into service for many other parts of India. So now with this background, I invite him to give you how to biosecure the farm, how we can really go for a self-assessment of biosecurity. My dream is, can we have a day that we will have a 5-star rated farm, 4-star rated farm, 3-star rated by yourself? Self-assessment. We can create, like a self-assessment of professional tax in Bangalore. So you can assess your own farm, how you rate in biosecurity. All over to Jayan Deshpande.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And thanks to Dr. Mahesh and Dr. Vijay for giving me the opportunity to talk in front of you. Biosecuring the farm. This is going to be, actually, it's a big session, but because of lack of time, I'll highlight few points. So what is the goal of biosecurity? That is, do not bring diseases on the farm. So if we see in biosecurity in our conditions, many of the people who come from abroad, they say you have zero biosecurity, which actually hurts us when they say like that. So because this is a most neglected subject on the farm. So biosecurity is a very important aspect of poultry farming. So just to give a brief about biosecurity, how the diseases come onto the farms through contaminated water, feed, litter material, poor quality chicks. We already heard about the chick quality and what they can do to the farm health, flock health. Then stock from other poultry, other than poultry, have a mixed farming. The most important part of the culprits are vehicles, because 3-4 types of vehicles which come to the farms and we don't take care of them. One is chick vehicle, feed vehicle, and the most important one is the vehicle which comes to pick up the cull birds, which normally they are the most contaminant vehicles which can bring the diseases to the farms. And in the past we have seen the incidences what have happened, and so many outbreaks have happened in last 2 years. And what I attribute is one of the reasons is contaminated vehicles coming to the farms. Of course, housing, we don't have much choice, but however, housing is more important because we are in open-sided houses, and all poultry sheds are subject to more of contamination. Then human traffic, people moving within the farms and outside the farms. This is again they pose a big problem for the biosecurity. Then wild bird, insects, rodents, which we normally don't take care because it's one thing is we don't have any proper program for controlling them, and these insects and other unwanted insects and rodents, they carry a lot of infections, and that infection will always remain on the farm. It's very difficult to remove. So control of these things are very important. This is in brief about how the diseases come into the farms. And cleanliness is more important, and biosecurity and cleanliness go hand by hand. So cleanliness is utmost important in keeping the flocks healthy, including keeping the water and feed clean, clean litter material, because most of the flocks which are on floor, they ingest the harmful parasites, bacteria and viruses, and they get reinfected. So keeping the litter material is very important. And cleaning sheds between the flocks, especially when you have multiple age groups, which is a major problem in breeder flocks where mostly multiple age farms are existing. So cleaning in between the flocks is more important, and each company should have their own SOP to maintain the cleanliness and disinfection process. So regular cleaning will help prevent spread of diseases. To start with, it's a simple food tip. Most of the farms, especially broiler farms, when we go, there is no biosecurity at all. And because of these integrated farms, it should start from the supervisors, the so-called line supervisors, which they don't follow. The simple way is start with a food dip. Even we don't find food dips in many of the farms, which is very pathetic to see. And however we tell them, insist them, they don't do it. But what my suggestion is, the companies should make it compulsory to have at least, this is a beginning. And later on, we can add to other things. Then there are 3 types of barriers required to prevent the diseases: the physical barrier, biological barriers, and pharmacological barriers. So we'll see one of them, one after that. So physical barriers. One is isolate breeder and commercial farms, which is not practically possible because there are no regulations and rules and regulations or restrictions from the government side. So anybody can build farm anywhere. So here biosecurity plays very important role. And other thing is, at least in breeder farms, every breeder farm should have a shower facility, so that one thing is people who are entering, they are clean and hygienic to go inside and handle the birds. Other one is, if you introduce shower, what I have seen is a lot of people don't want to enter the farms. So farms are safer. And other, like already I said, keep the farms free of rodents and pests which can carry many diseases, and control movement of people within and between the farms. The other one is vehicles. I have seen a lot of owners and other people taking the vehicles right inside the farms, which is not ideal. So whether it is a owner or a labor, vehicle entry restriction has to be there for, the rule should be for everyone. This is just a schematic representation of a shower, wherein you have a dirty area and clean area, where you have a facility to change over, and then you move on to the farm. And when you come back, you just directly enter to the dirty area and clean and go back. So this will actually help in preventing many diseases, and that actually practically we have seen. The other one is, like I was mentioning about the rats, just to give an example, a rat weighing about 250 grams of body weight, it can consume about 200 to 250 grams of feed. That means if you have 100 rats in a farm, in 40 days, they will consume about 800 kgs of feed, which goes unnoticed. We will not come to know. And if we don't take care of, don't take any measures to control the rats, which is going to be a big problem for farms. Apart from that, they also carry a lot of diseases. Then coming to biological barriers, what normally we think is vaccines will do all the miracles, but it is not going to happen that way. So vaccines are only a solution for the disease control. However, biosecurity is a major issue where one is prevention of the disease and controlling diseases by treatment and vaccinations. So that is how we have to control the problems on the farms. And controlling the emerging diseases which have no vaccines. As we have, most of the companies have experienced the issues of emerging diseases till we find a vaccine or a solution. So we have to manage with the problem. The great example is avian influenza. So very difficult to control that. So the best way is right from entry barriers. If we make biosecurity very strong, we can always keep the diseases away. Then competitive exclusion. This mostly works in bacterial diseases, wherein you can use different ways like probiotics or probiotics, wherein you can actually prevent the entry of the pathogens, and thereby you can reduce. And there are also several vaccines where you can do vaccinations periodically to keep away the wild strains of the bacteria or viruses. Then just to give an example, how long the pathogens survive on the farms. Example, IBD, they can survive for months together, 6 months to 1 year. Fowl cholera for weeks together, influenza weeks together. Marek's disease, you know, it is a very difficult virus to handle, that it can survive in feathers, particularly for weeks together. Mycoplasma, number of days. Mycoplasma is more easy to control because it's very fragile. Then coccidiosis, most difficult disease to control, because if there is a outbreak we can control, but subclinical problems will create a lot of economic losses. Then coryza, ILT, most of the diseases, if you take, they remain on the farm for weeks to months together, and difficult them unless and until we take care of removing them properly. The flocks are always at the threat. The best way is to approach for any problem or to secure the farm is by three ways. One is by doing the diagnostic test at proper time and taking the action. Then using a proper vaccinations to prevent the outbreaks, and the strict biosecurity. If we do all these three things, maybe we can actually literally keep the flocks disease free. Then other one is double fencing. Most of the farms, we don't even have fences. So it is better to have, suppose if you have particularly breeder farms, if you have 2-3 flocks, my suggestion is you have a fencing for each individual flock, so that entry barriers, if we keep more entry barriers, the disease spread can be reduced. Then of course, vehicle washes, any vehicle entering, whether it is a truck coming to the farm or a person entering the farm, vehicle wash should be a must, and so that clean vehicles go inside. And another thing is, I don't know whether you can appreciate, this is a method we adopted to keep away, reduce the incidence of mycoplasma. And what we were able to get was, we actually put the wire mesh around the sheds, so that we prevent the entry of a smallest of bird getting inside the farm. And within a period of 1 year, we were able to get the flocks mycoplasma free. So there was no recontamination. And because of that, many diseases, not only mycoplasma, because mycoplasma is one which is difficult to control once it enters the farm. So we were able to manage the flocks mycoplasma free. It may not be very expensive compared to the treatment we do when there is an outbreak. This method can be way cheaper, but you need a dedication to do that and monitor it, follow it up, so that you can get rid of many diseases. And on these flocks, we had used the minimum vaccinations, so that we can actually, we saved or we improved the health of the birds, because any vaccine is introduced into the body, the bird will react. So when the body reacts, a lot of energy is taken away by the vaccinations, and this actually affects the performance. So this is how we were able to maintain some of the flocks disease-free. Clean surroundings. Many of the farms I have seen, they are not given importance to keep them clean. Clean environment will always keep away a lot of pests away from the flocks, and this will give you a better health to the birds. Just to give an example about the losses when there is an outbreak, for example, Rio virus, in case of breeders, there is an outbreak, you will lose 350 rupees per bird in terms of loss in performance, production, and mortality, and the treatment cost. Same way, if you take mycoplasma, it's almost 100 rupees. So if you imagine number of birds you have and just multiply, you will see you will have to spend on that, or it is an indirect losses which we can encounter just because if we don't give more importance to the biosecurity levels. Then pharmacological barriers is to use of antibiotics in case of an bacterial outbreak. And as you know, because there is a lot of issues of coming up because of antimicrobial resistance, it is better to use less and less antibiotics for the producing a safe food for the human consumption. Same way coccidiostats, because some of the coccidiostats are also not allowed to be used when the chicken is going for human consumption, and that is what I am doing for some companies, where they procure something called NAE, no antibiotic ever. So on that farm, no antibiotic have to be used right from chick stage. Even they are not allowed to use any antibiotics at the hatchery level also. This is because there is a demand from the human side consumption. So hereafter, use of antibiotics will be more, there is a restriction. So one of the ways, like I already mentioned, biosecurity, vaccinations, and keeping the flocks safe will help in reducing the usage of antibiotics. Then just to give an example of what happens when there is an influenza, everyone has got experience. So one is to disposing the infected material itself is a big task, whether it is because it is controlled by government. So for them also it is a big task for disposing the infected material. So it is better to protect the flocks than going into a severe loss. Then coming to disposal of manure or hatchery waste, wherein a normal procedure is to burial of the materials, which will actually attract a lot of flies and beetles and insects, which actually transmit diseases like Mycoplasma, IB and Salmonella. So best way is to have a procedure for disposal of waste, whether it is hatchery waste or farm waste. Then use of paper trays, especially when you are using having a hatchery away from the farm. If you are using paper trays, best is to use a single use, though it may be expensive. Try to because reuse may cause reinfection or contamination of the farms. And if you have plastic crates, better to wash them. Dirty plastic trays are not allowed to send it back to the farms, which can contaminate. And especially if the trays are coming from different companies, different farms or hatcheries. Then I have seen many farms, the human discipline is not proper, wherein that leads to a lot of generation of flies and other insects, which can cause a lot of problems. So keeping clean surroundings, and same way egg grading conditions, wherein a lot of eggs are broken, which will attract a lot of insects and flies, and again they pose a problem to the farms.
4 minutes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just coming to end. So flies and beetles can carry infections like avian influenza, IB and Salmonella. There are more to this because these are the studies available. So keeping the farm free of pests is also very important. And just coming to the virus type, there are two types of viruses: enveloped viruses and naked viruses. Enveloped viruses are easy to kill because there is a envelope fat membrane which can be dissolved by using some of the disinfectants, but difficult to control is naked viruses, where many of the disinfectants do not work properly. Example like IBD, chicken anemia, adenovirus and reovirus. As you know, IBH is a big problem, which is again adenovirus. So many of the disinfectants do not work. So proper disinfection, proper selection of a disinfectant is more important to get rid of this problem. And these are some of the classification of the chemicals which will help in, these are used in the farms. Example, glutaraldehyde, formaldehyde, and quaternary ammonium compounds, organic acids. These are the different combinations, and where you can use it at a different places, whether they can be used on the food or not. So that can be taken care by selecting a proper disinfectant. Then coming to the hatchery disinfection, of course, everybody follows that, like setter trays, like a daily mopping, everyday cleaning the storerooms, hatcher trays. This is because if we don't clean them, the infection contamination can be carried right from day one along with the chicks. So hatchery hygiene is more important. Just to give an example, how the eggs are burst into the hatcheries. So hatchery hygiene is more important. Of course, there are different ways of hatchery egg disinfection by fumigation, dipping. Of course, dipping is not followed here. Spraying is normally done. Fumigation is the most common infection. Only thing, when the disinfection is done, we need to take care that fumigation works only when there is enough humidity. If there is no humidity, fumigation doesn't work. And coming to dead bird disposal, though incineration is expensive, it is the best way to keep away the diseases. As the companies become big, and when they have surplus money, it is better to invest money in incinerators, so that you can get rid of infections. And emergency flow, when there is a biosecurity is broken or there is any problem, so the information should flow from people taking care of birds, then product to the production department, then to the higher ups and logistics department, sales department, and to the feed supplier, so that the prevention measures can be taken up. So coming to the last slide, take home message, you should have 4 clean areas, dirty, semi-clean and clean areas when you enter the farms with colored uniform, so that you can identify who is entering the farm. Of course, restricting the vehicle movement. Then shower, I strongly suggest if each farm is have a shower, then many diseases can be controlled. And rodent pest control and proper record keeping, because most of the place even we don't find a visitors record also in many farms. So visitor record is also important, because if there is any problem, that can be traced back. And you have to develop the SOPs based on the location of the farm, orientation of the farm. You should have a SOP for the biosecurity, and one biosecurity in charge should be there for each farm, who will take care of. He's called hygiene manager. And biosecurity ensures the safe food production, and which we have to be working on that. There is no shortcut for the biosecurity. So thank you very much for listening and giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jayant, for such a practical sharing of the experiences on biosecurity. And in your talk, you did emphasize that biosecurity is the core activity at the poultry farm, and how biosecurity can prevent the diseases entry to the farm, and diseases have a very strong economical impact. And one of the chart which you mentioned, that each diseases, how much economical impact it can do to the farm, and why biosecurity is critical to the safe food production. So ultimately, we are the ones who are consuming the chicken and the eggs. So it's very important that we provide a safe meat, safe eggs to the citizens. And of course, you also give a lot of pictorial example, which gives us an indication how we can do our self-assessment, whether biosecurity at our farms is effective, or how it can be optimized. So thank you, Dr. Jayanta. Please stay there. We will have a Q&A session as well. So all the participants, so there is a Q&A box, so you can address your question to the respective speaker. So we have a dedicated time for answering those questions. So Dr. Mahesh, back to you.